Howdy there, partners. I'm your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will know, accept, receive, and share the knowledge, the healing, and the wisdom from the universe. Now, with that said, I don't normally do politics and stuff like that. Hi, Teresa and 65 Starlight and anybody else that shows up. At the very beginning of this, and I'll do it again, I'll put it in the chat room in places. I'm going to insert this in just places. Let's see, Control V in it, I think. Yeah. All right. If you listen to me, you should listen to the show that I just posted in the chat room. Now, I've talked about this lady before, Chris Ann Hall, and she's actually lives down around Tallahassee, which is sort of like my neighbor. And in that, I've been a little hurried. I made a sandwich and ate some stuff, and I'm drinking my drink, and so haven't had my cigarette yet. So, in listening to her tonight, she was talking about showing that Breitbart and several other major publications have out there that, and of course, you know about Nancy P, right? And she's claiming, that they're going to pick the hey scratch, that they're going to pick the president. Well, only if there is a tie. And she cannot pick anybody. She is the House Majority Leader. Yes, that's true. And in that, she can request all the Democrats or whoever to vote in a particular way. But she in of herself cannot do anything. It has to be done by legislature. I mean, if the electoral college is such, and I'm going to read some of it, but to kind of paraphrase some of this stuff, the electoral college was set up that despite popular vote, if each state, one state might have a crap load of people that voted for the president or vice president. And here's a clincher. Did you know, and if you watch the video that I put in the chat room, I don't know which article it is, but it states that in the elections, there will be separate ballots for president and the vice president. So how long has there been joint, parties? In the Constitution, it states there should be an election for the president and for the vice president, not as a combined thing. So I found that to be very, very interesting. But in the case of there's a tie or something like that, it goes to the Congress. Well, this is going to be decided by this folks or that folks. No. It goes back to the states. Okay. So if all of Georgia votes Republican, then the vote from Georgia, ding, 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 is going to be mostly Republican. So there are things out there, the Republicans are trying to sabotage, or they're trying to get the electoral college votes to come to their side. Here's the thing. If they are Republican and were voted in by Republicans or whoever, then the Republican point of view is already there. They don't have to cajole anything. They don't have to go and invite people to well, we want you to vote this way. If they vote the way they're supposed to. Now, here's the thing. A senator or a congressperson cannot be the electoral vote. It can't be anybody in politics or anybody from a major business. It has to just be a person. And each state selects their electors, all right? And then the votes go with them to Congress, and it goes to the Senate in front of everybody and the House to be counted. So it's like all of this, well, the Republicans are going to do this, and the Democrats can do this, and the Democrats, both sides are playing this crappy game. But the bottom line of this is it goes back to the states, and then it goes, and then it comes back to the Senate. The House of Representatives can only vote on a ballot for president if the Senate fails. And then here's how is this going to happen? But it says in the Constitution, I've been trying to browse through it. I didn't really have enough time to do my homework in that, but on Chris Ann Hall show, she brings it up on the screen for you. And that the president and the vice president are supposed to be voted for separately in case, get this, there's a tie for the presidency. And so it might be that the vice president got more votes than the other vice presidential candidate. So the vice president, voted on by the people, would automatically become president pro tem until the decision on who the president is can be adopted. If not, then the vice president can become the president. Okay, but we're not having separate ballots for president or vice president. They're combined. So now this is going to be a conundrum. But in that, I can understand why Trump or anybody else, the president, let me just say, would want to have a full contingency of constitutional judges to weigh this matter out, because there are going to be people who are going to be slinging phrases like this and that and this, and the Republicans are going to steal the vote, and not if they have a majority in the state. So if the state of Georgia is mostly Republican, then those electors are supposed to represent the people of the state. Now, there has been problems in the past where the elector, whoever that person, and it's appointed by the state legislator, having nothing to do with the General Assembly. It's not the U.S. senators or U.S. representatives who are choosing these people. It's the state legislature of each state. Okay, they can't vote. The U.S. or Senate or Congress can't vote in this matter. It is a state's issue being sent as a representative. These electors are people who supposedly carry the vote. And back in the day, they literally carried the vote on horseback or whatever to make sure that the vote was counted. They couldn't drag all these other people on horseback. So they sent one person with the votes, or two people, depending on how big the state and all that kind of thing, how many representatives. So, the state of New York is going to have more folks and stuff, like the state of California, because they have more people per capita. So, but the rest of the United States, we still have our chance to, Montana and Wyoming, they have smaller, populations. The states are huge. But the population density, there just isn't any population there compared to some of these other states. So the news media is trying to propose that the Republicans are going to steal the vote. Well, if the people vote Republican across, with their state legislatures now, and the state is a red state, then when they go to Congress, the U.S. Congress, they should take that red state vote with them, okay, meaning the president, okay? If it's a blue state, now here's the thing, there has been similar instances over the last 200 or so years where the people who were supposed to vote Republican or Democrat or whatever changed their vote, piss some folk off back in their home state kind of thing. That's not supposed to happen. Could it? Yes. So that's why the Supreme Court needs to be filled. And I got to say that his choice for a Supreme Court justice was a woman. She's very intelligent, family oriented. Listen, there are a lot of other people out there that we could, quote, choose. Now the Democrats are saying, well, maybe we should have term limits. They want to change. If things seem to be going sideways for them, then they want to change something automatically. So don't fall into the hype. Michelle, Project Skyfall, Scratch, how are you all? Listen, so I'm, I know who y'all probably know who I want for president, or who I don't want for president, or vice president, as far as that goes. But for these folks that are trying to confuse us and keep us in chaos. So if you see that the Republicans are trying to steal the Electoral College, if they're already Republican, how can they steal it? Okay. Now I'd much rather think that the Democrats are trying to pull together, because a week or so ago they were complaining about the popular vote, and now Nancy Pelosi and a bunch of them have changed their tune to now, well, it's up to the Electoral College. So they're trying to sabotage the state's votes before they ever get to the Congress. You know what I mean? But she can't do anything. All she can do is pull the House Democrats together. But she can't do anything except her vote as a representative. If it comes to a point where there is a ballot that goes from the Senate, if the Senate can't decide, then it goes to the House of Representatives. And this is like, and they have until March to count the votes of next year. So if you're confused, I would suggest that maybe just a highlight of some of what the Constitution actually says. But these folks want to read it for their own purpose. Say, well, we can do this. No, you can't. I mean, I was like, let me see for myself. Well, in watching Miss Chris Ann Hall, and I will do this again, Control V. Please subscribe to this lady's channel. And because if you have any questions about constitutional issues, she is a constitutional lawyer, okay? And they have this constitutional university thing which they conduct and so forth. Anyway, very intelligent lady, very, and against, how can they do that? She says she's a joy to listen to, her and her partner, whoever that is. But anyway, if you're concerned about the elections and concerned about what they can or cannot do, you should check her out. I'm serious. Anyway, let me do my own little, go to another page here, and I'm sorry I can't share. Now, this is the original. And now this is Article 1. I'm sorry, Article 2, Section 1. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in Congress. Okay. But no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed as an elector. So the senator, congressman, a judge, a lawyer, anybody like that who has any kind of public affiliate cannot be an elector. It has to be just a person. They stipulate this right there. So, wait, let me go back up here. I didn't have a chance to really be able to do this on my own. Okay. But what I wanted to do was to make you aware of the fact that these folks um, are trying to screw with the wording. You know, Article 1, the first section is Congress, House of Representatives, the Senate. Elections, Section 4. The time and place of and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. So the legislature of Georgia chooses what it does. It ain't got nothing to do with Alabama, Mississippi, or Florida. It's Georgia, and therefore the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations except as to the place of choosing senators. Each house shall be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, which is a little weird. They're going to police themselves, right? And the majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business, but a smaller number may adjourn from day to day and be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under such penalties as each house may provide. Now, I am looking at this. It's the constitutioncenter.org, and it's the list of the Constitution. Now I'm trying to find the okay, so I read this before. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislator thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of representative, senator, et cetera, and shall be appointed as an elector. So nobody holding office or trust or anything. They can't be the elector. Elective shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for two persons, of whom at least one shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall make a list of all the persons and number of votes. The president of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives. So in full view of everybody, in the presence of the Senate and the House of Representatives, open all the certificates and votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be president. If such number be a majority of the whole number appointed, and if there be more than one who has such majority, blah, 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 and then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president. So in other words, if there were three people back in the day, like Ross Perot and Bill Clinton and whoever else run against him, I guess it was Bush. So if they'd all received the equal amount of votes, then, or, you know, the votes would have been taken to the Congress, opened up, and they'd have said, okay, well, Ross Perot didn't quite get it, and Bush didn't quite, but that damn Billy Clinton, he looks like he's got enough. So, but they would, but by choosing the president, the vote shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having one vote. A quorum for this person shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the Senate, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to choose. In every case, after the choice of the president, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the vice president. Now, see, we don't have that separation. But if there should remain two or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from them by ballot for the vice president. So we could have a Democratic vice president and a Republican president. And they planned on this, okay? So the two are not supposed to be the same in case any of this rigmarole happens. So the Congress may determine that, okay. Now it goes on to the duties of the president, Section 4, Article 3, Section 1, judicial power. Anyway, here's an interesting point. This is Article 4, Section 2. The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. What? So it means, that should mean that if states have made weed legal, then shouldn't we have anyway? Okay. All right. So, but anyway, so although it's, well, you have to consider, the fact that they were had to travel on horseback and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm I want to I'm going to read the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So them folks back there, they were really serious about some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, so without going into any other details, my point on this is that they're trying to turn, because people don't read it and may not quite understand it, they're trying to turn the Constitution, which to me is pretty damn clear, into gobbledygook, mumbo jumbo. Well, because you don't really understand it, then we're going to tell you how it is. Nancy Pelosi, she's got the right to do this. No, she don't. And Nancy spouting all that. She's the Speaker of the House. That means she has been elected by the House to represent them as the Speaker. Other than that, she's just a representative. So her going out here and talking about how they can do this and how they can take the president down, the House of Representatives can't. The Senate can only impeach. It can be brought up from the House of Representatives. But all this other stuff about how they're going to do this and how they want to do that and how the House of oh no, the Senate must abide. And then it must pass the scrutiny of the third branch, the judicial branch, for the sake of, keeping things so one branch doesn't take over the other one. Oh my God. So, there are some wording and things I see as I read through this. It could be made a little more clear in today's times, but the general wording of it is like, it's very clear. Each member, by state, by, population that's deemed, and the Congress sets that, so many per diem, so many whatever. You always hear about redistricting, right? So they want to get more of their voters in a district, so they change the lines of the district. I don't know how many times the district down here where I'm at, because I'm in between counties, is I thought I was voting for this guy, and I was actually voting for somebody down in Thomasville, and I was like, what the hell? So, when I was surprised when I got to the bowling thing and said, where's John Doe's name down here? Holy crap, who are these people? They had changed districts on me. I still voted in the same place, but those boundaries for districts had been altered. Now they can only do it, they call it gerrymandering, but they can only do it through Congress. But if there are a bunch of Republicans and they want their district, so Every time there's a shift from Democrat to Republican, they want to redraw the lines for the districts anyway. But that's within the states. That ain't got nothing to do with the United States Congress. What that does have to do with that we, the people within the states, have the right to vote for who we want to. And then those votes go to our state capital, and our state legislatures pick people to go to Congress and deliver our votes from our state. That's it. And so those people have, all they can do is just turn in the vote. So here's the votes from Georgia, here's the votes from Alabama, here's the votes from here. So when it gets to the Senate and it gets opened in front of the House and everybody, they say, okay, and then the vote is taken. So if there's one more electoral vote than the next guy, that's it. That's it. That's it. Now, if there are 3 or 4 people who are, getting the votes, then it could come down into a tie or somebody not having more votes. But it doesn't say anything about you. A majority vote is 1. If it's 1 more than the rest of them, that's it. And that has nothing to do with popular vote now. Let me be sure with that. So they can win the popular vote all they want to, but it still goes back to the states, okay? Because if New York's got more people than Wyoming, which they do by 10 or something like that, times 10 or whatever, crapload more people, right? So, but the state of Wyoming has the same rights as New York. That's why 2 senators, regardless of the state, but the representatives are based on the population of that state. So of course New York and Florida and California, because they have the most populations, are going to have more sway as representatives, but not as senators, okay? And the Senate, it's got to go through the Senate. The representatives can bitch and holler and everything, but it has to go before the vote of the Senate. And then if the Senate can't do it, it goes back to the House of Representatives, because the representatives, guess what? Represent the states. Now, if our representatives, they could change their flipping mind. And if they do, well, they might get tarred and feathered when they get back to their respective states, although it could happen. But the electors of the Electoral College can't change the vote, because the people set the vote. Okay? So all of this, they're going to manipulate. Now, could they manipulate the Electoral College? They could bribe anybody if they try hard enough, right? They can stuff ballots and everything, and more people can show up in California and New York or Florida. But those 3 states are not going to be the deciding factor. Although in 2000, Florida, with their dangling chads, was what gave Bush the the push. So, but the thing is though, and I agree with the president on this, that the House, the seat for the Supreme Court should go ahead. They should go ahead and do this. The lady's got, put a judge in there, because the Democrats are going to do their best. They're already trying by putting out this. The Republicans are trying to steal the Electoral College. If the House is, if Georgia is Republican, then the vote is automatically going to be Republican. They don't have to mess with anything. They just got to call the governor and everybody. How are all you Republicans doing down there in Georgia? And I'm neither or, but I am voting Republican in some cases. But the idea, though, that somehow they're going to magically steal these electoral votes if they bribe them. But if it's done correctly, and each state will keep an eye on who's doing what from their state, But if it's taken to the Senate like it always is, and the counts are there, and one guy's got one more vote than the other guy, that's it. That's all there is. There is no further argument. So this, we're going to vote on the president through the House of Representatives. If the votes don't come in, and if this doesn't happen, and if this doesn't happen, and there's a list of stuff that first must be done. Now, also know this, they have until March to count. Now, in the interim period, this is where supposedly the vice presidents have a separate ballot. So the vice president, while they're trying to figure out who the president's going to be, the vice president steps in as president pro tem. In other words, he's going to hold the seat down until a decision is made on the president. And if it's not, if there's a tie with the presidents, the vice president's already there keeping out a look on things. And that's done like, can be done immediately if it looks like things are going to drag on, right? But there is still a time period for people to do it. So the Republicans can't say this, well, hurry up and turn in your votes. It stipulates in the Constitution how long they do have. Now, that also means that there could be more pandering and more shenanigans and so forth, where the Supreme Court justices come in. And it's not a matter of whether the judge is Republican or Democrat. It has to do with the letter of the law, and it's very specific. Don't let these idiots out there in the newspaper world, and you're reading the headline, oh my God, the Republicans, oh my God, the Democrats are accusing the Republicans, and oh my God, and this and that, and Nancy Pelosi running her mouth. No. I'm very sorry, but these folks are feeding you false information. Now, to the point of Nancy Pelosi, yes, if this doesn't happen and that and this and this and that, it ain't like, well, we don't know who the president is and they're going to go to the House of Representatives and vote one in. No. There are steps already provided. It got me not really necessarily riled up, but I look at the headlines every day on doing stuff, and I look and I go, but it is a bold-faced lie what these people are saying. Breitbart, and they should have more intelligence. Wait a minute, you're misquoting a document that everybody has a right to view, see, or otherwise interpret for themselves. But when it says you will have representatives from each state, and no senator or can be an elector, so that can't be swayed. These folks are stipulated by the states themselves. So all the states are going to be manipulated, every state. Now, if it's a Republican state or a Democrat state, then expect that's where the votes are going to go. Now, in a mostly Democratic state or Republican, there might be one more Republican than Democrat. So there's still the Democratic vote there, and they will be counted as Democratic votes. So it's not like, well, Georgia's all red, so, every vote's going to be Republican. No, it doesn't go that way either. The Democratic votes will be counted along with the Republican votes. But if someone says, well, I can't imagine Georgia's a Republican state, then how come they, at the Electoral College, they voted Democrat for Biden? That's my point. And driving in town and around, there are very, very, very few Biden signs. And I was commenting to myself, to my neighbor who is right across the street from my driveway. Normally, in the previous years, proud Republicans, right? And the sign was right out there on the road. This year, they're voting for Biden, and the sign is right up at the house, up next to the bushes. Interesting, bushes, anyway. But so it's like, are they proud that they're voting for Biden? Why don't they put their sign up by the road? It's way up the road. You have to be beside the house looking at it to go, what? Where before it was out on the road, hey, we're Republicans. So they're voting, they're hiding their vote, if you will. But as it stands, so can states be cajoled? Could individuals be cajoled into voting differently or stuff? Yeah, but if the state legislature gives this power to these people that aren't in supposedly mixed up with anything, they're just people. Go to the United States Congress and present the votes from each state. Okay. Now, what happens when it gets there? But the votes from the states don't change. Okay. When the deadline is hit, and here's the thing, but we still have more ballots we found in the trunk of a car, and they're mostly Democratic. We want these counted. Sorry, we've reached the deadline. If all the votes aren't in by the deadline, which is March of next year, that's it. That's it. You count what you have, and you go on. And people are going to go, what? We should extend. No, we shouldn't. If you can't get your votes from your state counted in 5 months, November, December, January, February, by March, okay, 4 months. But before 5 months, then those ballots, in my humble opinion, shouldn't even be counted, because who knows where they came from, right? Now, if you could have a re-election or something, or the ballot machines were bad, or you found something wrong with the voting machines, which we had issues with years ago, and I even reported it in my area. But subsequently, things have gotten better. Now, we're supposed to have newer voting machines this year where you actually get a receipt. You don't get to keep the receipt, but it is a paper that you can say, oh, I voted for this person. Yep, that's right. And it goes in, and in case the digital data, and that was one of my issues, in case the digital data is corrupted, they could always go back to the little paper thingies and go, no, we checked, we got the receipts right here. That was my complaint over many years. We didn't get a receipt. And it's not that I kept it, but what if they can print out one copy, can't they have paper that prints out another so you can take a copy home with you? Just saying. But anyway. So, but my point about this, and a lot of other people are stressing this now, you can vote early. That means you go into a booth at the county seat or whatever, and you vote early. Okay, if you think that there's going to be a lot, go vote early. Now, those could be tampered with, but like if in Georgia, if you're getting a paper receipt, you could always take a picture of it with your camera or your phone, right? And say, this is who I voted for. And if everybody did that, and if anybody said, well, the people in Georgia voted for Biden, and everybody in the neighborhood's going, wait a minute, I only know one person with a sign out. The rest of us voted for Trump. So what the hell's going on here? Hey. So common sense says we should have receipts, and Georgia has that now. Although we don't get to keep it, but we can take a picture of it, and then they get to keep it in each of the districts and so forth for the tally to be, well, we've got a discrepancy. Okay, well, let's pull out these little pieces of paper and see, well, we're going to count these damn things by hand then. Now, they might have a machine that you could run them through and scan, but anyway. But so the point is, though, states are trying to get better with, because the people in each of the states, a Democrat or Republican, they want their vote to count. Now, there could be a great division of Democrats and Republicans beating their heads together, but the one thing they both want is to have their votes counted. Whether they win or lose or not, that's not the point. They have to, we all want the votes to count. We want them to count. I want my vote to count along with whoever else is voting for whatever. But so we vote in person, VIP, and now it's really picking up steam. A lot of people are pushing it. Vote in person, vote, vote early if you can. but it's with the machine. It's not written in. You don't do, nah, nah, nah. You physically go in early and vote the way you normally would in your state. So, and I, if you want to, okie dokie, but I would, I don't know, if they're going to tamper with the votes, they're going to muck with them. You know what I'm saying? Muckrakers from back in the day. Can I have my cigarette, y'all? So anyway, I'm sort of on a little bit of a tirade about this, but only in that they're blatantly putting out lies. The Republicans are going to do the Breitbart. They can't. None of them can. Read that little bit that I did. Watch. I'm gonna put Miss Chris Ann Halls. I'm gonna Control V again and put it in the check this lady out. I'm telling you, she's a constitutional lawyer and a professor and all this stuff. Check her out. Okay. You got questions, check her out. She pulls up the Constitution and says, read this with me. This is what it says. So for people in the news and your friends, oh, the Constitution, they can do this, they can do that. No, they flipping can't. They may try, but technically they can't. All this chaos and everything. So here's my point to you all, and which you can very calmly and listen. If somebody says, well, the Republicans going to do that, you say, listen, darling, let me tell you a story. That's not the way the Constitution works. And in Article 2, Section such and such, it states that they can't. But sorry, Article 2, Section 1, or whatever, they can't do it. But the newspaper said, and the newspaper is full of poo. And I don't mean Winnie the Pooh either. It could be Winnie the Pooh's poo, which would smell like honey maybe. But anyway, that'd be some sweet shit, wouldn't it? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I did put in the thing that this is not for children. So. But I haven't really cussed or gotten overly rude or anything. But the emphasis in my voice is that it's written down here, gang. So if somebody wants to, well, but the news Breitbart said, and they're full of crap. You might as well eat a crocodile as to believe Breitbart on that point, So now each state has its own election laws and so forth. But we're discussing what is done on a grand scheme scale, and that's the legislatures of each state send the electors. That's the bottom line. It isn't the senator. It isn't the representative. They can't vote in this matter. It can't be another politician from anywhere. Okay. It has to be somebody that's just, hey, Joe, come here, and take a homeless guy off the street and go, you're going to take these votes to Congress. Okay. It's supposed to be like that. So that there can't be any influence. You understand? That's why they don't want any public official or any corporate power or whatever. No, they state it. Can't, no. Trump can't have his son or daughter or anybody else come in as an elector. Nope, because they're affiliated with the thing and can't do that. It's got to be just a shoemaker down the street or a dressmaker or something, male, female, doesn't matter. They represent the vote from that particular state. Okay, that's the elector, and it's turned in to the Senate in full view of the House. So there is no hanky panky, supposedly. So for folks who say, oh, but they can do this and they can do that, they can try. But the rhetoric they're going to put out there between now and the election, and tomorrow's supposed to be the great debate. Who's ready for this one? I don't know if I want to watch it or not. I mean, I was serious. Like 2 days ago, I was like, I'm going to watch, what's it? And now I'm like, I don't know. It's almost seems like it would be really sad to watch, and to watch Biden lose his temper when Trump brings up his son, and they might have to call in the Secret Service to calm him down, or he just, absolutely loses it. Who knows? But I think from my standpoint that there's no way that Biden, listen, I've been a public speaker and storyteller and for all of my life. I've won awards for public speaking. Okay. And I don't consider myself any better than the next guy. That's not my point. But in watching from a debate standpoint, from a who's got the better presentation, who's got the most, their stuff together, Biden can't do it. He simply can't. He could, he used to, but whatever's happened to him recently, he's not on his regular. I'm sorry, it's sad. And we could all say, well, he was a great vice president. Well, he was a great senator. One thing we can say, he's been in politics way too long. And it is sad to see someone lose. It's too many people. And I agree, from what I've seen, he's exhibiting Alzheimer's, but he's damn near 80 years old. I mean, I'm 68 and I would not consider this, even if I was in good health. I'm like, I'm 68 years old. Screw this. I'm not running for president. Maybe a representative or something for 2 years, but are you nuts? But anyway, but who else do we have anywhere near qualified that's even 50 years old, that we can trust? So the next election after this one is going to be interesting. Who they're going to put up on any side, Now, if Pence does a good job, then he could very likely be the Republican nominee. But on the Democratic side, well, you're going to call in Bernie again? What are you going to do? Well, Hillary's still alive, So we got to look at the bigger picture. But anyway, the bottom line is, don't let them deceive you. If you're questioning whether or not anybody can do anything, it's written down. They can't, at least not legally. But I think there are too many Republicans that I know who don't want shenanigans. They want this clean. They want this to be a clean election, straightforward. Everybody get out and vote. And there are folks that say, listen, you can go to Walmart and go shopping. You can't go vote. You can go to, Harbor Freight and Home Depot, but you can't go vote. You got to mail your ballot in. So it's like, wait a minute, you can go over here and do this and that and the other thing. You still go and get cappuccino, right? Well, you can't go vote. Well, but we might be in contact with other people. Holy crap. I noticed that the state of Florida looks like they're going to repeal the mask thing. Because the Republican governor, Rick DeSantis, I think is his name. Anyway, the numbers came in. Hey, Robert V, hello. Yes, my ankle is doing much better. And, there's my nasty leg. This is that's the bruise that's left that come down my shin. But anyway, yeah, I'm walking around pretty good. No running yet. I'm going to give it a few more days to, before I do anything crazy. But plus it's too damn hot. The humidity is like bananas right now down here. But in 2 days, it's going to be in the 50s at night. So almost time for a fire. Oh, and there are people talking about, oh, this is the coldest winter. And, oh, Georgia's never had this. Listen, when I first moved here, almost 38 years ago, a year or two after, it was like 84, 85, 86. It was before the 1990s. We had temps down here it was 9 degrees in the daytime. 9 degrees in like October or November. And I remember every year around my birthday, I would have a party for folks. We'd just come down here, and it wasn't necessarily about my celebrating my birthday. It was that I'm still here after another year. And usually by my birthday, the 24th, the weather had changed. right? Which it's doing. So all these people, and I remember one birthday, it was, I don't know, my birthday was like on a Wednesday and we had the party on Saturday. It was always the weekend after my birthday, right? So we would be assured of getting cool weather. But the idea, though, I remember one year it was like 38 degrees at night, and we all had jackets on. We had a great big bonfire, and we had, we were cold, So there are folks, oh, this is the coldest, and oh, bananas. Y'all just don't remember. I do. I can't be exact with the date, but I can tell you that, it has been very cold early on in the season. And this ain't the first time. Oh, climate change. Oh, bananas. Oh, shut up. I just want to slap these people, you know. And unfortunately, I used to be on that thing. But the fires in California and other states have polluted the United States with carbon dioxide, monoxide, and God knows what else is in the air from the chemicals and things, the plastics and whatever that burned with it. So noxious toxic fumes has blanketed the United States. And we worry about car emissions? What? Just saying. Oh, but our car emissions, we can't do this. And, if they took off the catalytic converter on a lot of these cars, and they're burning a lot cleaner anyway, do you know that our gas mileage would go up like 10 to 15 miles per gallon? In 2003, they had an Opel Kadett that they refused to allow into the United States. It ran on diesel, which was the reason. It got 90 miles to the gallon, and it could do it at 150 miles an hour. 90 miles a gallon on diesel fuel. And that was back in 2003 and 4. Why aren't we seeing that? Well, it's been 15 years later. Why aren't we even smelling of it, But anyway, the truth is right in front of us, and they're twisting it. So if you think something smells fishy, then check it out yourself. Can these Republicans or the Democrats do it? Not legally, no. And can all these people claim all these things? Well, they can claim them all they want, but is it true? And here we're about the truth. So that's the main purpose of this. It's not to say that Biden or Trump is the better choice or whatever. You vote your conscience. I know who I'm voting for, and a lot of other folks that I know. Black and white. Mexicans are going, no, I ain't voting for Biden. No, I no vote for him. And it's like, okay, he's sleepy. He likes to touch little girls. You don't think folks can see that mess? I mean, you see the thousands of people at the Trump rallies, and Biden's got 20 folk. He steps off the airplane waving to no one. He's pointing over there, and there's nobody on the tarmac, and he's just waving. We want this guy to be our commander in chief. I'm just saying, But the American people will decide. It's up to the states to get the vote right. Then from the electors that they send to the Congress, the votes are opened on the floor of the Senate with the full House. So there is not supposed to be any hanky-panky. It's supposed to be open to the public and to the legislatures. This is who we voted for. So don't believe the lies. Now they're going to try some other shenanigans. Let's all send our prayers out that they will confirm this, the new judge nomination. She's qualified beyond reproach. She worked for Justice Scalia. And we still want to know what happened to him, right? His wife was even in the audience the day that she was nominated there at the White House, which I will remind folks that only a couple of people had a mask on there at the White House in the Rose Garden. And they were sitting right next to each other, senators and representatives. And so, this COVID thing. And the president was lying. And, the reports have come out from the state of Florida, okay, that children up to the age of, 12 or 15 or something like that, had a 99.9% chance of living if they got the virus. Then the next group, 99% chance of survival. This next group, the 40 to 50 rate, the 98.9% survival rate. It was only until you got to the age of 70, which when I get to if I make it another 2 years, we're going to have a party, right? That, those were the people who were most, those were the folks that died, was in this higher age group. So all the rest of the population has been doing this stuff when the numbers absolutely don't agree. So they're running ads here in Georgia that, Senator David Perdue, who's a Republican, he listened to the president and he put Georgians at risk. Well, when you get the numbers in, hang on, then even the grade school kids that I've talked to, and I know a few, they're like, we hate this. This is so stupid. And we're sick of wearing these masks. And we're doing this and we're doing that. And public school is no fun. And the kids, and we can't, and, and the teachers, the kids know. The kids know that they're not immune to it. But if they get the flu, they got a 99% chance of making it. So they're looking around going, you want me to wear a mask? Why? If I get this, I'm probably going to survive. There are people who die from chickenpox, right? And the shingles later on. But anyway, so it's nothing to be sneezed at. But, people get the chickenpox, but we all have made it through the chickenpox, most of us. So, but, do we wear masks for chickenpox? Do we, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm on a little bit of a tirade today. It's the damn Schumann resonance that's doing it now. Let me. Let me just throw that out there to you for just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. So, but anyway, along with everything else that's going on, hey, David Castle, good to see you all in there. Dark Truth, who all's hanging out in here? Teresa, as always. Robert V, the new pick for judges, a plant. She's in favor of mandatory vaccinations. Yeah, but it's got to go through everybody else, Robert. There are a lot of people who are just not going to get it. They ain't making me do it, and a lot of other people they're going to go, nope. But, I hope that that's not the case. So you all agree that you think that she's not a good choice. Okay. Considering some of the other choices and looking at her credentials, if she follows the Constitution, then they can't make us do it. That's the bottom line. They can't make it mandatory. If she is truly a constitutional judge, they can't make it mandatory. Anyway. And when the numbers come out and they show us, yes, she has. She's got court experience, Teresa. Yeah, she's been a district court judge for quite a few years now. But anyway, she does have experience. But anyway, it's just not about a debate about that. It is a debate about whether there should be a judge in there. And if she worked for Anthony Scalia, now she's got a Catholic perspective, and we all kind of question that. But so is Mike Pence. He's a Catholic, so we could all go, So she's going to be less about abortion rights, which are pissing a lot of people off. And about the vaccine thing, I think that the idea of mandatory vaccinations, if there were hundreds of thousands of people dying on the street, I might even be for it. But the numbers aren't there. And I think it's going to change a lot of people's mind when the absolute truth comes out. They won't make it mandatory. That's my humble opinion. But here's the thing. I remember back in the day when, everybody was, talking about, Clarence Thomas and his nomination. Oh, and then, he felt me up and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Okay. But there were times when people were thinking that he was going to vote a particular way. And then everybody was shocked. And they, well, he's a black man and he's this and he's that. And how did he vote like that? So you think, well, he's good. We're going to put this guy in there. He's going to vote like this. Not necessarily. So anybody that gets put in the judgeship, but I'm looking at the experience as a constitutional lawyer more than, quote, a judge, because it isn't about judging anyone in these instances. As a federal Supreme Court judge, it is about the rule of law, okay? So we need to make sure that the rule of law is followed. Going to leave it at that. Anybody that they pick, I would go, well, we'll see. I mean, those folks who, nominated Clarence Thomas and Sonia, the sort of Hispanic lady, she has voted in ways that people go, wait a minute, we thought she was going to be like that. You don't know. You absolutely don't know. So my point, though, is she's qualified technically. Put somebody in there, because we do not want this to go to where there's not a full Supreme Court and these folks want to dilly-dally with stuff. We just don't. I mean, put Trey Gowdy in there. I don't care. Oh, listen to me. I would rather have the seat filled than not, is my point. Anyway. And the president, I don't think, is for mandatory vaccination. So anyway, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, let's pray that if the truth comes out about the numbers, and like if the state of Florida is telling folks, take your mask off, we're not going to die now. And we're going to, when people start seeing states stand up for their rights, and the people are already going along with it, then things can return more to normal. And I think a person's mandatory vaccination thing would change their mind going, wait a minute, this is all a bunch of, hooey. So my position on it 6 months ago is different than it is right now. So we can all change our mind when we learn the facts. So anyway, let's not worry about that point, but let us worry about an empty seat. I would much worry about that more. Mary Wins, hey, hi. Sign up with your state to be included in the class action against all who enforced mask wearing. Walmart, senators, governors, all being sued on our behalf. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Mary Wins. Good to see you again. See, Scratcher TV comes in hand. Oh, he's from here in upstate South Carolina. Yeah, I went to the doctor years ago, and I haven't been to a doctor in 3 years, so it's been 5 or 6 years ago. But she was supposed to give me my, my old people's update flu, and I was like, Doc, I really don't want to, last few times I've had a flu shot, I've gotten sick. And she looked at me and she said, then you're allergic to the shot, aren't you? And I was like, well, I don't know. And she looked at me and she said, then you're allergic to the shot, aren't you, David? Well, Doc, I don't know. And she looked at me like, you're allergic to the shot, aren't you, Dave? And I said, oh, yes, I am, Doc. I'm allergic to the shot. So if you're allergic to vaccines or something like that, I've told several people, if you tell them that you're allergic to whatever's in it, but if you don't speak up, wait a minute, you're allergic? Yep, I can't take. The last couple of times I've had flu shots, they've made me sick. I almost died once, and I'm sorry, but I can't take the vaccination. There's something in it I'm allergic to. But now mine is written down in my medical history. But if you speak up and say, but I'm allergic to them, and your physician writes it down, then you got a legal recourse if they force you. If you don't say anything ahead of time, well, the government said, and you got it and tough shit, But anyway, To the point, as Mary Wynn says, we need to stand up and go, you people made us do this. You folks made us do this when there really was. So we'll see how this goes out. But people are pissed. And like the state of Florida, there are people the people in Tallahassee, the Leon County, they forced everybody to wear masks and gloves and everything like that. And you know, them folks down, I know quite a few people down in Tallahassee, and they are not happy about that. Not a bit. Now, and the governor is in, guess where? Tallahassee. So now, is Tallahassee, if the governor says no more masks, but Tallahassee, is Leon County going to go, because supposedly local municipalities can pass their own damn laws. So if you want to go into Tallahassee, even though the state may be mask free, but the county says, then you're going to have to wear a mask if you go to Leon. I haven't been to Tallahassee, you know, since it started because they locked it down in such a way. So I've got friends down there that I would love to go see, and there's a pizza place I would love to go have pizza, and there's a, you know, health food store and stuff down there. I don't even know if any of these places are still open, you know, or the businesses. There's some music stores down there, you know, that I want to go and pick up some guitar strings and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but the idea, though, that so, you know, the folks in Leon County, are they going to be sued? You know, the folks that were on campus at Florida State and FAMU, you know, well, you know, the kids got back to school and, you know, there was an increase. Well, if the kids come back from school and there are thousands of them and you get 10 people with a fever, oh my God, there's an increase. Yeah, but the numbers, again, how many people actually got sick? Did anybody die from it? Oh, but we saw an increase. Yeah, there 3,000 people came back to the city. So, yeah, you know, but, you know, but then they found out it really wasn't, and they just had a temperature. And so don't let them, you know, they're going to try to ride this lie as long as they can. So just pay attention. And, you know, your personal feelings, like, you know, whether this person is right or wrong. I look at other selections and I go, yeah, let's try this one, you know. So, but anyway, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. The biggest thing is, yeah, we all had, you know, Sonia Mayor or whatever. Oh, that she was going to be such a great this and that. Has she really? Or been the people who thought that she was going to do all these radical changes. Did she really? Just saying. So, but having a judge that knows the Constitution, that's important versus somebody who's been dealing sentences out to people who may have been wrong and not constitutionally correct. So I'm going to leave it at that. Nobody's perfect. None of us are. But with a chance to redeem ourselves and be the people that we are, when you take an oath of office, you take an oath. So we'll leave it that there too. Mary Wynn's Dark Truth. No more vaccines for me. Nope. Tell them I'm telling you, tell them you are allergic. And they, what? I'm allergic to it. You can't give this to me. I'm allergic to it. But I'm allergic. I'm allergic. If you do this, I could die. I'm allergic. Please, no. I know it's in my records. So I would go to the doctor just to say, wait a minute, I can't have a shot. Even though I came for a flu shot, I can't have one because I'm allergic. Put that down in my file. Just saying. All right, my friends, it's been over an hour now. They have aborted fetuses in them. Oh, they got all kinds of stuff in them, you know. There are some of these creams, you know, the anti-aging creams that also have baby fetuses in them too. There was a report several years ago, and one of the doctors that are on the doctors, the one guy that's a plastic surgeon or whatever, you know, there was some that, well, we use these things that come from this and that, and they're proteins. They call them proteins. And the proteins are actually from aborted fetuses and so forth. because where can they get these things to make an 80-year-old woman like she's 45 or something? And oh, stop it, grow up. You're getting old, so big deal. Deal with it, you know. Um, I can't remember the actress's name. Um, anyway, when her hair started turning gray at like late 40s or 50, she refused to. Jamie Curtis. She refused to color her hair. She goes, "This is the way I am, and this is how it's going to be." And I'm like, "Bravo, bravo, you go, girl." So be proud of your age and be proud of whatever it is instead of trying to cover it up. You know, God bless my granny that I've talked about so many times. She would go every few months and her hair would turn blue, you know, instead of just being naturally gray. And her hair was fine, but, you know, they had to have a permanent and all this. So I get it. It's what the ladies do. At least back then they did. But anyway, my friends, before you cover up mine, I'm wearing a hat, you see, and it says "Get her done." So, but anyway, Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah. And I applaud her for it. And she's still to me a sexy woman. I don't care, you know, however old she is, she's carried herself well, and gray hair or not, you know, good for you, girl. But anyway, but my friends, I'm going to leave it here. Yeah, Jamie looks good, especially for her age, you know. But the chaos that's being presented to us, just remember, you know, there are folks that have a higher agenda. And you can call it the Rothschilds, you can call it these people or that. But these folks, and I've said this before, and I was watching Simon Parks earlier from Connecting Consciousness, and he said the same thing. He goes, people think it's the folks here on Earth that are really into this control. But the thing is that the planet woke up too fast, too quick, and these folks with Agenda 21 and Agenda 30, they have lost control of the narrative. So the only thing they could do was lock us up to shut us down from progressing any further. And if you think about it, you know, and he was talking about it in his latest video, that they've had doctors on it, you know, and when you breathe through the mask, you're rebreathing, you know, your carbon dioxide and any other sputum and stuff. I mean, it's actually, you're wearing a mask makes you more susceptible to any kind of lung or any other kind of thing because it lowers your immune system because you don't get enough oxygen. So yes, these people should be sued. And Walmart should just open their doors and just allow people to come in and get stuff, you know. I'm just, you know, for especially their employees. And my sister is one of them. She's like, Dave, it's so hard, you know, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so keep our prayers up, keep a positive attitude. Let's not, you know, well, she's not the perfect one for judge, but, you know, who else are you going to pick in this day and time? Well, this person, that person, okay. But just let's consider, let's see, well, let's have a little bit of faith that some of these people will actually do good. They will actually perform well in their duties. We can't trust any of them, you know what I'm saying? So we just do the best we can and go, well, you know, lesser of three evils, who knows? But anyway, let's not get, you know, I looked at it and was like, what? He's got this person already. And well, let's see what we got here. So from a standpoint of like, well, it could be worse. I'm always, you know, well, it could be worse, you know. And they're the other judges to contend with. And whether or not, you know, there are clear things in the Constitution as I was looking through it that the Congress can or can't do, or the judicial system, what they can or cannot do. They can't impose this, they can't do that. They can do this, 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 and this. So we need to look at those sections of what they can do and look at it and go, no matter what they say, if it says they can't do it, then they can't do it. Now they could pass a law, but that would have to go before the the judges to be found out whether they could pass a law to make us take a vaccine. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, the state of Florida made it mandatory for people to wear masks. Now they're undoing it. So mandatory, unmandatory, yes, no, maybe. We do things sometimes at the spur of the moment. So before we spur of the moment, go, wow, this can't, we can't do this. Let's not put our energy in there, Let's look at it and go, hmm, hmm, and pray that these people have a conscience. You know what I mean? So, my friends, let's see if anyone's, let's see, Teresa, what'd you say? I think he wants a robot and picked a yes person. Underqualified, just my opinion. Okie dokie. Yeah, I hope it works out too. If anyone's ever bored at point, just take a look at this. Scenarios for the future of technology and international development. You'll find it on Google. Oh, yeah, page 16. Well, I haven't seen that in particular. Scenarios for the future of technology. Yeah, I'm a lot more worried about what these idiots are planning to do with the AI than I am about whether or not, this Comey Barrett person is the right choice for Supreme Court. Yes, there's a lot of other things I'm a lot more worried about. You know what I mean? But understand this: that a constitutional lawyer the experience has nothing to do with being on the bench. It doesn't. A constitutional lawyer knows the Constitution and it knows what the law is. But do you have to be proficient like the lady, the Chris Ann Hall? I don't know whether or not she's ever tried a case, but she is proficient in what she knows about the Constitution. So do you want somebody that's been on the bench for 10 years that just, or do you want somebody that knows the letter of the law? I know I keep going back over that, but she was a professor at Notre Dame. Now, there's a lot of people, Notre Dame, oh my God, a bunch of Catholics. Yeah, but there were non-Catholics go there too. But yes, there is a certain position there as a Catholic and so forth. But there's also humanity in there. And she's a mother of 5 or 7 or something like that. There's a lot to that in my respect, where there's this cold-hearted, 90-year-old woman making decisions for people. She's hard-hearted and blah, but they say she was a nice lady, and that's not my point. I would much rather have a mother's point of view. Do I want my kids inoculated? Do I, anyway, versus somebody that doesn't have a clue about family. But hi, Chloe. But yes, Teresa, not to be in an argument over this, I'm trying to state another point, that a constitutional lawyer does not have to try cases. That's just part of the deal. Anyway, so you say, well, there's no experience, but she's a professor. She's been this, So anyway, my fingers are crossed. Okay. Because anybody can be a turncoat, we never know until they get there. So I'm just hoping that his decision was right and the seat is filled. So we'll see. In the grand scheme of what the chaos is they're going to be pushing this thing. And after the debates tomorrow, there's even a hinting that Joe, Sneaky Joe has got the flu. He's got the 19, so he may not be able to show up tomorrow. Well, after everybody planned this and all of this publicity, we'll see if he shows up. But they're already it started yesterday, and then today, it being a Monday, the rumors are flying that he may actually have a touch of COVID and may not be able to attend. Oh man, I tell you. The blunder games continue. All right. They're blundering from day to day to day to day to day to day to day. So we'll see how this turns out. But again, I will say to you, Project Sky, 65 Starlight, Robert V, Chloe, Dark Truth, Project Skyfalls, Teresa, Scratch, Michelle. I know you're in that mix somewhere. I saw you. Let's keep a straight head. Dark Truth, Scratch, David Castle, as always. Thank you, and I'm glad things are back, and we continue to pray for you and your family and all that good stuff. And Dark Truth, I think I got everybody. All right. If I missed you, I still love you. Okay. We all love you. Just remember to try to stay out of the chaos. Be that observer. You know, if you start getting your emotions being swayed one way or another, and like today, now, in reading the newspaper headlines, I was like sort of unaffected, but like I was thinking, now how in the hell can the Republicans do that? Then I watched Chris Ann and I read the Constitution myself, and I was like, these folks are just out flat out lying to it, you know, and they want you to believe in the narrative. Now we all know that they try to control the narrative, but here we go again. But here's something that we can look at ourselves and go, that's not what it says. Well, you know, Nancy Pelosi said, she can say whatever she wants to, but the Constitution says this. Of all the other stuff that could be out there running around, we can go to the Constitution and go, that's not what it says. I'm sorry, but your opinion on this, it says this. But, no, sorry, it says this. But, talk to the hand. But it says this right here. You know, this is what it says. So that's our ace in the hole on this particular thing. Everything else is sort of subject and up there in the air. But when they start misquoting the Constitution and saying that, folks, we can hold them on that one. Vibes are good here. Thank you, 65 Starlight. We try. You socially mix with us well. October 31st. Yeah, October surprise. It's actually supposedly around the 15th-ish, somewhere in the middle of the month. And there's a lot of different channels and folks that are all saying the middle of the month. Now, we all know that Halloween is Halloween and blah, blah, blah. But we can also pray against it, you know. There are folks who have been seen at different rallies, Antifa, BLM, where they're literally casting spells there. You can see them. The lady's got a backpack with the book of spells. She's carrying it, you know. And so we have to consider to ourselves, there is a lot of things, not necessarily beyond our comprehension, but there are folks who are saying spells against you and me, actually. You know, if we want Trump to be president, there's casting spells against all of us. It ain't just him. You know, I mean, if that's who we want, if the people decide this is what we want, then whoever's casting these spells are casting it against all of us. They're doing these things to me inadvertently and off to the side, but do you think I appreciate that? Not worth a damn. So, you know, but we have to keep our armor up. But again, if we get sucked into the chaos and misdirected, that's where they get us. So keep a level head. And, you know, whether one person's better for the job or another, let's just keep our fingers crossed that whoever it is will uphold their oath of office, to uphold the Constitution. And in so many words, there are a lot of representatives and so forth out there, Nancy being one of them, that is not upholding because she's speaking against it. They want to change it. They want to impeach the president. They want to do all these things to get their way. And the thing is, it's not their way. It's the American public. It's you and me, our vote, our Constitution. It belongs to all of us. We, the people of the United States. right there in the preamble. We, the people of the United States. Here, as I close out this thing, let me go back up here. And we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. We, the people, you and me. And a lot of times, there are those groups, so we the people only means them. Yes, Milky does shine bright still. Yep, he liked his tunes. And he was talented in that and finding things too. When I think I'm missing him, I realize that he is more with us, me, you. I say me in that we had a lot of direct contact, but he had a lot of direct contact with a lot of you all too. So I'm not trying to be the only one here in this. No, no, no. Not by a long shot. But I feel privileged and proud to still know him and to have been a part of this whole project of his, if you will. And Robert V, I'll be very pleased to be on any subject that y'all want to talk about. Yeah, I connect with music that way too. Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have the facilities to do what I used to be able to do with the with music and stuff like that. But one of these days, I'm keep my fingers crossed. I'll regain some of that mental stuff that I used to have. It's locked in a door. Yeah, it's locked in a door somewhere in my brain. The ability to do. I used to do. Not to toot my own horn, but I had the ability to make soundtracks for all kinds of things, for plays, for this, that, and the other thing. And I even got paid for it too. And coming up with music and sound effects. I mean, I got a complete sound effects library and just a bunch of stuff. So I'm hoping to get back at doing some of that stuff. Winter's coming on, and there's going to be days when I'm going to be stuck in the house. So, and that's a good excuse. Like, well, let's play with some music. Well, I sing as well as I possibly can. I've been in several musical groups and choruses, and I've done musicals on stage in front of a lot of people. I mean, like 1,000, 1,500 people at one setting. And was in the premiere of the Vikings as one of the main two characters. It was one of the very few leads I actually ever had. But anyway, I did a lot of supporting roles, which is great. I got to play all these different characters over the years. But I can carry a tune, as some folks say. And one instructor actually told me, he was a Juilliard graduate and a wonderful man. I've talked about him before, Mr. Paul. And we were rehearsing one time for a show, and he stopped and he goes, Dave, I just want to tell you, he said, I give you a note. When they're playing the melody, he'll play one note a little harder than the chord, and that'll be my note to start on, right? So that, like, ding, there's the intro, and then one note will be just slightly harder than the others. And he goes, you pick it up every time. And he said, you're right on the money. He said, it's like you have perfect pitch. And there are people before go, well, I can't tell you if it's a high C. Now, don't get me wrong. But if I hear a tune or something like that, I can hit that note, And he's like, didn't you ever go to school for music? Or, and I've known he is since deceased for at least 10 years now. But what a wonderful man. And he said, I've met a lot of people, and I've accompanied a lot of people. But he said, you're just who you are here in Thomasville, Georgia. You've never had any actual musical, gone to school for it. And here you can hit a note every time. He said, and I don't have to like do it over. And some of these other people who've had voice lessons and everything, well, Mr. Philip, hit that note again for me. I can't quite hear it. And he goes, and they'll be a little off every. He said most of the time they're flat. And he said, but you hit the note every time. Ding, la, there you go. So anyway, I'm very proud in that. But but it's a personal thing, it was that conversation was between me and Mr. Paul, and nobody else knows that he gave me that compliment. In fact, there were probably people in the theater group who would go, he said, what to you? I don't believe it. He didn't say that. But he did. So it's a personal compliment. I've had personal compliments like that in my lifetime from very special people. And the compliment of these people to me, I didn't have to go to Broadway. I mean, there are people in Thomasville that would have paid my way to go to Broadway to be in shows and audition. And I turned them down. I mean, these people have money. I'm like, no, my talent is for Thomasville and down here, and it's for puppets and storytelling. If I wanted to go to New York City and be on the big stage, I would have done long ago. But those folks are snobs, and I don't want to have anything to do with them. So, but anyway, but I digress. Another 30 minutes worth of just yakety, right? Thank you, folks, for hanging out with me. Let's just be calm as much as we can. Keep our eye out and keep our fingers crossed. But there's bigger stuff that's on, that's trying to play games with this. And we as a planet have messed up their plans, and they're going to do everything they can here in the next few months, year or so, to try to gain it back, and they can't. That's why I've said before, there are beings who would rather just see this planet turn into another asteroid belt than to allow us to continue to get smart and be out from underneath their control. So they tried to kill us off, didn't work. They tried to lock us all up. It's worked up to a point. Is it going to work any longer? Probably not. If the state of Florida is already issuing forget the mask thing, then we're probably it's probably in the beginning stages of the mask demise. Thumbs up. Let's pray for these people and give them courage to stand up and go, sorry, but the numbers aren't here. We can stop with all this craziness. Good does good. That's good. I'm trying my best here. That's all we can do is do our best and pray that other folks are honorable. This lady for the Supreme Court, let's just make sure that she can be an honorable person, that honor means something to her, and to all the other judges too, who are already there. Let's pray that these folks will be honorable, and not put their own personal in things into it. And that was one of the things I watched it the other day myself. And she said, it's not about who I am or what I believe. It's about whether or not it's the constitutionally correct. So let's hope that people, regardless of their feelings, will hold the letter of the law true and hold those people accountable. So thank you all very much. Halloween is coming. Save your mask. Yeah. Healings and blessings to all of you. And I've got several friends and family members who are in some pretty nasty situations. My friend Marcia, who broke her arm as she's in the hospital because it wasn't growing and they had to put a splint kind of thing on it. And she's, let's send some prayers to my dear friend Marcia. And I can't get anywhere to really help her out in this. And if she's in the hospital, they ain't gonna let me in anyway. So under the circumstances, but I put on my Facebook page that in my old age, I wish that I could travel more and do more for other people. But I realize, and it's through you folk, that even though I may not be able to, I could barely make it, to town and back yesterday, that, I'm just not, I can physically do for a couple of hours, but, long-term things and drives, I don't want to be in an accident or fall asleep or, anyway. So, but I'm capable of driving. That's not the issue. It's my narcolepsy that keeps me from, wanting to put myself out there, and especially by myself. And I have not taught Duggar how to drive yet. I don't think his paws can reach the clutch. So until such time that I have a co-pilot, as I have often referred to, my traveling is going to be limited as far as my driving. Now, if somebody else is driving, if I fall asleep, it don't matter, right? And I can help drive, but to just be confident with myself to be able to drive every day and go somewhere, I'm just not up for that. But through this medium and through prayer and through Facebook, I'm able to have conversations with people around the world. And to me, that's more important than driving somewhere and meeting somebody, I mean, in the grand scheme of things. So I'm humbled and grateful that I'm still here, and that through this medium and through you folk, because, whether or not you agree with me, we can at least have a conversation. So, Teresa, whether you think, that Trump's choice is a good one or a bad one, we can disagree, but, and that's okay. But both of us have got our fingers crossed. I'm gonna pick on you, Teresa, but both of us have got our fingers crossed that whoever gets chosen will do their good job. So we all agree on that part. Whoever it is, we want them to do the right thing. So, but anyway, so I love you all. Thank you so much. Have a great week if you can. And times are changing. And just think about, oh, it's a cold winter. And the ants are marching in. Oh my God, the ants are moving in again. Oh my God. I found them roaming around inside my house. And I'm like, where did you come from? There's concrete all the way around my house. How did they get in? Where'd they come from? And, but we've had a decent amount of rain the other day. My foundation is full of water, so nicks on the concrete for a few days. But the ants, I mean, they're like trying to get in the house again. I'm like, where in the hell are you coming from? So they're usually a portend of the old timers, and I'm an old timer, and I've seen them when the ants try to get in the house the way they are now. I mean, they're like hell bent for election to get in. They're looking for a warm place. And now, is that the resonance? Is that human? Don't know. But I know they were crazy on the floor earlier today. That's for sure. So, my friends, I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge and the healing and the wisdom from the universe. I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept and receive the knowledge and the healing and the wisdom from the universe. And as the law of three, I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your acquaintances and anyone that you meet will learn to accept and receive the knowledge and the healing and the wisdom from the universe. And that you can continue to share what you know. Now, whether or not somebody is qualified or not, we can all pray that whoever it is will get the job done and do it right. So, let's keep our fingers crossed. But still, it's hard to keep your fingers crossed and put peanut butter on your bread. But anyway. Barry, Chad, hi, how are you? Come in late. I didn't see you there. Project Skyfalls, favor to all. Thank you. Teresa, Robert V, as much. Yes, Michelle, love you all. Project Skyfall, Scratch. Tell Duggar bye. I will. I'll tell him hi. He's over there upside down on the couch with his feet up. Yeah. I'm a qualified numpty. Scratch, what the heck is a numpty? I love the word numpty. Scratch, tell me, what is a numpty? Duggar wins. Yeah, he's upside down, and he got a good ants marching. I've got Pink Floyd in my head now, and an ant seen that video must look. Yeah, a Scratch, an idiot. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, my as we used to say back in the day, what a maroon instead of moron. What a maroon. Remember the days of the maybe not the Three Stooges. Yeah, what a maroon. Yeah. But anyway, let's not be a maroon about this. So I already called you all out. Michelle, good to see you again. Dark Truth, Teresa, as always. So I'm going to go over and kick the dog, make him wake up and get off my spot. I have to move him down all the time. You're in my spot, Duggar. He's like, oh, come on, Al, leave me alone. I got my legs up and I'm sprawled out, and please, but you're in my spot. And I swear to God, when he shares my bed couch thing over here, and I swear he takes up more room than I do. I mean, he's like legs. He's got 4 legs. Oh, I got 4 legs too, but he spreads out, and I'm like, I wake up in the middle of the night going, how did you get like that on me? And where I'm like on this much of the couch, and he's got the rest of it. I love Duggar. He's great. And we're going to go kayaking soon too. I swear. But anyway, thank you all. Ween, everybody, it's coming up. Keep your wits about you. And like I say, if it looks stupid, check it out. Don't allow them to confuse you. Well, anyway, I'm not going back through all that. So thank you, my friends. Until next time. Yeah, this was an unscheduled, I still want to do that video, and I'm working on it about the Braves on horseback and the prophecy. Yeah. So we shall see. That's still coming up, but I got there's a little bit of research I need to finish up about the horses and the lady. Anyway, I got to find out, get this little this new information settled in with how I actually saw the original. The original message hasn't changed, but the horses and the color and the white lady and the this and the that, I've gotten new information that puts whether or not it makes the vision any more or less important. To me, it helps to clarify. So, but anyway, and I want to make sure that I'm absolutely, I can tell you the story, but if I don't explain what I've learned about the colors of the horses and the meanings and things, then in a way it'd be like sort of withholding the true meaning, especially if I learn more, right? So, but anyway, so that's what I'm working on. So wish me luck in my meditations on that, and that I can find that little tidbit of information I had a week ago. So to all of y'all, thank you so much. I am humbled by your presence and by your subscriptions, by your choices that you make every day, and the fact that you're actually thinking. That makes a big difference. Thank you all. And from South Georgia, as we always say down here, TTFN, ta-ta for now, us rednecks, get her done. And keep the faith, have faith in yourself. Till next time, my friends, blessings. Oops.